Inside Michigan Football is presented by Meyer.
Hi again, friends, and welcome to another edition of Inside Michigan Football. Doug Karsch alongside the captain, John Jansen. The Michigan Wolverines will be playing in this stadium, the Rose Bowl, one of the most majestic scenes in sports. And John Jansen, you have not been back since January 1st of 1998.
No, and it's an unbelievable scene. It's jealous because I know there's a lot of people jealous because I had a chance to play on that field where a lot of legends played. You walk out and you feel the energy of every single one of those legends. Now, you and I get to sit where a lot of legends sat to call a game, and I'm sure that we're going to feel that same energy.
And what about the energy these kids are going to feel when they take that field in Pasadena?
It's really hard to describe because I grew up and, the Rose Bowl was on January 1st like it is this year, and it was exactly what you were trying to do when you went to a Big Ten school, especially Michigan. And Michigan has been here 20 times, this will be 21, more than any other Big Ten school, and it's a kid's dream. I spent 21 years of my life trying to get to this point, and I told my kids, when you get to the age of 21, then I'll decide which day was better, me playing in the Rose Bowl or your birth. And I have yet to have one make it to 21, so TBD.
Well, the Wolverines practicing indoors today because of inclement weather. They've had to adjust on the fly, something they've had to do a lot lately, as our Ed Kingerski reports.
The Wolverines' ability to pivot and prepare has served them well this season, and they've been at it again as they tweak their approach from those two prior CFP appearances.
We hit one day and then we might be a walkthrough the next day, but everything's about precision and execution. That's a different approach, and then mentally, we're approaching it a little different. So, I'm super excited for January 1st and to get over that hump.
The experience of having those two losses just gives us that extra motivation, that extra fire lit under our butts that, we can't have it happen a third time.
These last couple of years we've been practicing really hard, going all effort, just going as hard as you can, and now it's more just doing that but with your mental, taking more mental reps, taking more film, more recovery, things like that. Still practicing really good, but just focusing on the other details.
All season long, the team has referenced how well they practice, and they continued with that mindset throughout the month of December.
I keep saying just precision and execution, making sure every route, every detail, whether it be in practice or a walkthrough, we're doing it to the best of our ability, and making just sure we execute on each and every play.
It might get tough, I might not want to practice. No, we're not doing that right now.
Making a third consecutive semifinal appearance, there's an even greater hunger with this group, especially the elder statesmen.
Just that Michigan versus everybody, I feel like that came into play a lot. Just knowing that we got each other's back, coming out here every day, working, putting in the work day in and day out.
I want to say the words hungrier, but I would say clock's ticking. That's why I like to see the hourglass. You flip that over and it's slowly just draining. This is the time.
It's also time to discuss the majesty of this great game, the granddaddy of them all.
I'm super excited to play in the Rose Bowl. Like I said, I've heard nothing but great things, and it's a big game. Michigan versus Alabama. It doesn't get better than that.
We put a team like ourselves against Alabama. Two powerhouse football schools, two schools with whose alumni bases, fans are going to travel very well to this game. Two schools with a lot of history. And it's what stage is bigger than this one?
Just being, on the inside and being the quarterback to this team, I've never had so much fun in my entire life playing this game of football because of the guys that I'm around on a day-to-day basis, the coaches that are coaching me, the athletic training staff, everybody in this building. It's just special, and I just appreciate every single one of them. Just everything about this year and this vibe, it's just been amazing, and I just want it to continue so bad. So we're going to be working our butts off to make sure that happens.
All indications are it's been a good week of practice for the Wolverines, and having been here 2 times prior, there's a noticeable calmness about the team as they get ready to face the Crimson Tide. For Inside Michigan Football, I'm Ed Kingerski.
All right, Ed, thank you. John, they've been practicing, getting ready for this game for weeks. You've been to practice. They've done a little differently this year than previous years, getting ready for a college football playoff semifinal game.
Yeah, a little bit more of a ramp up, ease into it a little bit more. They've been intense once they got out here. But, JJ was dinged up a little bit. You had some other guys, Drake Nugent was dinged up. So they wanted to ease into it, get these guys healthy, get them back going. Got a lot of mental reps back in Ann Arbor, a lot of time in the meeting rooms now. Hey, you hit the field hard and hit it fast here.
Do you get the sense that they're ready?
Yeah, I mean, you talk to these kids, it's unbelievable how this team, and you and I have talked about it, whether it's during the broadcast or during the week, this team feels like it's built for this moment. It's built to handle a lot of different things, challenges that they've had throughout the course of this year, and this is just not a challenge, it's exciting, but it's just the next step.
A lot of kids came back to be right where Michigan is right now. New Year's Day, college football semifinal game at the Rose Bowl. Much more to come here on Inside Michigan Football. We'll have scouting reports for the offense and defense. Later, a little bit of fun off the field for the Wolverines and a little bit of fun with Jansen Vision. Stay with us. You're watching Inside Michigan Football.
Inside Michigan Football is brought to you by Meyer, presenting sponsor of the 2023 Michigan football season. A proud supporter of thousands of local sports teams across the Midwest. Go!
We gotta come out here with a big chip on our shoulders, you know. They think it's just like the same old Michigan, you know. Every year it's a new team, so can't really put a title on it. But I mean, I guess people think we're scared of a name, but we're not scared of a name, and we're just ready to go.
Your sense of urgency increases each day, but at the same time, it's always been like that. Even since that first day we left from Indianapolis, we knew that day was coming. So it's not like we're going to switch up anything dramatically now that we're all of a sudden here.
Welcome back to Inside Michigan Football. Wolverines getting set for their game against Alabama on New Year's Day in the college football playoff. And John, let's talk about the Michigan offense. First of all, they seem to be more healthy going into this game. They lost Zach Zinner, obviously, against Ohio State. But guys in the offensive line have healed up. J.J. McCarthy, probably closer to 100% than he's been a long time.
Yeah, at practice, he seems like he's moving around just fine. Drake Nugent, obviously back on the practice field. Carson Barnhart getting some extra time at the guard position. Trente Jones, he's been a tackle, but just more time with the starting group. So yeah, they're feeling a little bit more fluid, a little more comfortable with each other, and it's really going to come down to JJ throwing the ball and protection and being able to use him as a weapon in the run game.
Well, that seems like it could be a big part of this game is JJ's ability to make plays, designed runs, called runs for the quarterback.
Well, and it's going to come down to his decision making, and whether if it's a read option, when do I stick it in there and hand it off? When do I keep it? When when it's a pass and I have an opportunity to extend it, and if they're in man coverage, hey, there's a lot of green grass out there to actually be had, and it is grass in the Rose Bowl, so that'll be nice.
Meanwhile, Michigan offensive coordinator Sharon Moore said early in the week that Alabama has pros at every level on their defense. Their edge rushers are great. Their linebackers are huge. They got 3 All-Americans in the secondary.
This is going to be a huge test. Sharon Moore has passed a lot of tests this year. This will be the biggest one in regards to just the rhythm of calling plays to protect JJ, to give his offensive line an advantage in terms of being able to protect and when to attack their defense, whether it's shots down the field or the middle of that defensive line is really where you're going to see this offense attack them.
In the pass game, Nick Saban pointed out his concern about being able to slow down Colston Loveland. Meanwhile, A.J. Barner is no slouch at the tight end spot as well.
They're both great weapons to be able to utilize there. They're both good at run blocking. They're both good at being able to catch running good routes, and they both have great hands.
Donovan Edwards, Blake Corum in the backfield. This is the first time Corum is healthy for one of these games, and Donovan Edwards, such a versatile weapon out of the backfield. We might see a big game from him.
Yeah, we talk about the tight ends and being able to utilize them in the pass game. Donovan Edwards, we've seen it throughout the course of his career. He's that type of weapon, and I cannot wait. If there's a big play threat and big play potential, that's Blake Corum. We saw him be able to basically call a shot after Zach went down. He goes 22 yards for the touchdown. I mean, he's got that ability, and I'm excited to see him on the floor of the Rose Bowl.
Last year, we saw Michigan's offense make a lot of mistakes in the college football playoff semifinal, which was so out of character. They seem to be determined to be buttoned up on Monday.
Lessons learned. Lessons learned 2 years ago against Georgia. Lessons learned on, off, and before the game last year against TCU. All of those things are why, you mentioned it earlier, hey, there's unfinished business. A lot of these guys came back for unfinished business, and this is the opportunity for them to go out there and prove it.
We will talk about the challenge the Michigan defense has straight ahead here on Inside Michigan Football. This week's Arrow Steel Man of the Week is Michigan backup quarterback Alex Orji. With the Wolverines getting set for Jalen Milroe, Orji played Milroe in practice. All right, back here on Inside Michigan Football, and let's talk about the challenge ahead of the Michigan defense. And we just heard about Jalen Milroe. Look, this guy is as talented as a quarterback as they have seen this year. And we'll start with the ability to try and slow him in the run game.
Well, I mean, he's talented, but he's also young. And he's a guy, and most people will tell you this description, he's the most improved player in college football this year. Where he started and where he is now is completely night and day, but he is still young. Even in the Iron Bowl, was made some mistakes early in that game, but then you see the talent, his ability to extend it in the run game, but also make passes and throws in the pass game, which is why he is such a big threat right now.
Mike Barrett said earlier in the week that you almost have to tackle him like a running back because you have to expect more contact coming from him. He's a big kid who can really fly, but he's not your typical quarterback that's easier to bring down.
I heard him say that, and I went up to him and I said, you got to tackle him like he's a fullback because this is a big dude, and when he decides to put his head down, he literally is, he's a 230-pound, 240-pound running back, and he is a physical style of player, and he's going to attack the defense, whether it's in the pass game, but especially in the run game. He's a big threat there.
Alabama gave up 43 sacks this year, which is 123rd in the country, but it feels like about 40 of them happened in the first half of the season. That offensive line got better.
The offensive line got better, and Jalen Milroe, some of those sacks are just on a quarterback. You know, a quarterback doesn't get rid of the ball when he's supposed to, doesn't make the throws he's supposed to, or he doesn't escape the pocket. Now that he's learned all of that, I mean, he had 38 of them himself. So they're much better at protecting him, but they still have some vulnerabilities up front.
I really like the interior of Michigan's defensive line on this game. I think the guys up front in the middle could have a huge game.
I think this is where Michigan has a distinct advantage. It's Mason Graham, it's Kenneth Grant, it's Chris Jenkins, it's all the guys that we've been talking about all year. They should go out there and understand that they should win this matchup and go out there and dominate.
I feel like the Alabama receivers are an improving group all season long, but there's no Jalen Waddle or Jerry Jeudy or Jamison Williams. But the Michigan secondary might be the strength of the defense. A bunch of playmakers back there.
A bunch of playmakers back there and a bunch of experience. You know, early in the season when Will Johnson was out, we had guys step in and, you know, be able to get great experience. Now we're seeing it all pay off, whether it's up front, in the middle, or on the back end. But the back end for this Michigan defense, it is. I mean, Mikey Samerstill, I mean, we can't talk enough about him. Will Johnson, and Makari Page, all of these guys are just studs in the defensive backfield.
And you got to try and slow the run in games like these. Anytime Alabama comes at you with 3 running backs and they're getting healthier in the backfield.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Rod Moore, he can be another linebacker. Makari Page, he could be another linebacker. So when you have that flexibility on the back end where guys can come up and help in the run game, but they also have the flexibility, the speed, the agility, and footwork to be able to handle things on the back end.
All right, coming up here on Inside Michigan Football, we'll have a little fun with Jansen Vision and also some fun off the field as Michigan gets set for the Rose Bowl in Pasadena on New Year's Day. You're watching Inside Michigan Football.
Our conversation with the head coach, Jim Harbaugh, is brought to you by Meyer.
Well, Coach, what's practice? What's the prep been like since you guys have been out here in California?
Yeah, it's been outstanding. Back in Michigan, it was great. It's been great out here. The team's ready to play. I predict they'll be jumping out of their skin at game time, and then it'll be a matter of getting the rhythm, getting in the flow of the game, and just playing like us. But I feel really good about things.
Speaking of jumping out of their skin, I know you're going to be excited. What's it going to be like for you to watch this team take the field on Monday?
Like it is every time. I mean, I just can't wait. Can't wait to watch our guys compete.
You played in this game, I played in it, and it's changed a little bit, but there's still a lot of history and tradition here. What's it been like for you as a coach now being out here?
I'll tell you, it was similar from when I was a player. So many of the traditions are the same. Disneyland's the same, Lowry's, just being in Hollywood, Beverly Hills, just seeing those sights, the mountains. I mean, the tradition of the Rose Bowl, it's it's one of those things you just respect. You respect the tradition, you admire the excellence, and now it's time to play.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
All right, we continue here on Inside Michigan Football with what the Wolverines have done off the field. It is a business trip, but that doesn't mean you don't make it to Disney. And I got to tell you, Jim Harbaugh looked like he had fun in the parade and had fun talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, you could insert any line of character right now for Jim Harbaugh, and yeah, it would be fun. It's the happiest place on earth until you win the Rose Bowl, and then you happen to be in the happiest place on earth. So they had a great time, and that's the thing about this is people forget, like, this is not the NFL. This is college students coming out here to play a bowl game, and they still get a trip out of it.
And another part of the experience is the Beef Bowl, the Lowry's Beef Bowl. You remember that from back in your day?
I do. Paul Tanous and Steve Hutchinson, man, we had a great time, and we won that one as well as we won the Rose Bowl. But it is great food, and it's a great family that owns it.
Right. Well, that's some of the fun the Wolverines had off the field. Speaking of fun, John Jansen will do Jansen Vision. Jansen evaluating John Jansen and how he played in the 1998 Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
That is straight ahead here on Inside Michigan Football.
Michigan's last Rose Bowl victory came in 1998 when the Wolverines won the program's 11th national championship. Rose Bowl MVP Brian Griese was 18 of 30 passing for 251 yards and 3 touchdowns, leading the Wolverines to a 21-16 win over Washington State. Dahani Jones led the nation's top-ranked defense with 2 sacks and a team-best 10 tackles, while Heisman Trophy winner Charles Woodson recorded 4 pass breakups and an interception in the end zone.
So on New Year's Day, the Wolverines will try and win their first Rose Bowl since January 1st, 1998, when you and your boys did it. And let's go to Jansen Vision for some key plays from that game.
Yeah, and this is the first touchdown by Ty Streets. Right now, Washington State is up 7-0. You can see it right there. That's unacceptable. So we tell Ty, all we want you to do is beat this guy one-on-one. You go deep, and we're going to chuck the ball up and throw it to you. And that's about it. That's literally about all it was Ty being able to just beat a guy one-on-one. And you can see here, Doug, I always tell you, hey, when you see a guy's helmet pop back, you know you got a punch. Just take a look here. Boom. Oh, man, he almost fell over. Wish he had. But, hey, nice pass by Brian Griese, obviously dropping a dime right to Ty Streets, and that's exactly what you need to be able to come back. Now on this one. All right, this one I want to show you, obviously, Michigan right now. Let's just highlight this. Up by 1. And on this one, we've got Mark Campbell, 10 years in the NFL. Jeremy Tooman, another 10 years in the NFL. Got myself there. We've got Zach Adamy. We've got a Hall of Famer in Steve Hutchinson and Jeff Backus. We know him from the Detroit line. So it's a hell of an offensive line. Dave Brandt also played with me in Washington. Brian Griese at quarterback. Russell Shaw, Ty Streets, and the A-Train in the backfield, just to make sure we set the scene for everyone. Now, on this one, remember, I'm always telling you about Nebraska chili.
Yep.
All right, this is the
signature play.
Signature play. Chili was a sweep to the left, burger, sweep to the right. We loved our food. We named everything after it. And Nebraska was just a way for us to call it was naked. Brian was going to be out here with no one else to block. And on this one, you're going to have basically 3 options. These guys are going to run it out. Ty Streets, like I told you before, go deep, and if you're open, we're going to hit you. On this one, though, Mark Campbell's going to sell the run. He's going to fade off here into the flat, and then Jeremy Tooman's going to run a drag route, and he's going to come over the top. I'm going to show you the end zone picture here in just a moment, but I want you to watch. Oh, right there we go. And he's wide open. But you can see it much better from the backfield here. So we're faking the run. This is a play action. It's perfect play action. Backus has got to come up just a little bit, rise up a little bit, because he's got to get all the way out here. Then all of a sudden it's just, hey, next man up, and you're going to watch this guy right here. He's not going to do a damn thing. All right, and it literally, we used to call this a stock block, right? I'm waiting for one of these guys to spin back here. I'm going to hit him right under the chin strap, but not to be happening. But here we go. This is the touchdown, more importantly. But here we go, stock. Absolutely not a thing. You could have played with 10. Hell, you could have played with 9 and still beat Washington State. But that was the beautiful thing about that play. We ran that one all season long, and all the way up to the Rose Bowl. Was never stopped.
Well, should the Wolverines win, we'll be back here next week to preview the national championship game from Houston. Here on Inside Michigan Football, we'll see you then.
Inside Michigan Football is brought to you by Meijer, presenting sponsor of the 2023 Michigan football season, and proud supporter of thousands of local sports teams across the Midwest.